And now, from the Imperial Studio in the Free City of Longwood, welcome to GROGTALK.
Once again, welcome to GROGTALK 2026, Rob. And they said it wouldn't last.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Here we are, 75 years later and still going strong.
In dog years, absolutely.
Speaking of, where's Jack?
Yeah. He's probably just standing outside the door.
Well, he can make it. He can make an appearance later.
Yeah, he's probably scratching on the door right now as we speak, trying to get in to see what's going on with what it is. So
happy 2026, James. Did Santa bring you anything fun for Christmas? That jolly old elf. Obviously, he's a high elf.
Right. 6th level cleric, if I remember.
6th level cleric, yeah.
Like a Gandalf. Not too much, which is okay. My main project is building / finishing a shed in my backyard, which is going to be my recording man cave, freedom from all worries, temple, shrine of entertainment to myself.
So your wife has finally banished you from the main house.
Well, I've self-banished myself. This room, unfortunately, as you've been to the previous Imperial Estate in Longwood, the original one.
Before it burned to the ground.
Right.
No peasants were involved.
Right. It wasn't a revolt. They didn't storm the gates and
reports of that are entirely false.
Exactly. Fabricated by those who are against the Empire.
Yes.
Seditious lies. But as you recall, I had multiple rooms for my proclivities, my peccadillos.
As befits your imperial state.
Right. So when we, like Constantine, moved the imperial seat, instead of east, we went south. I was banished. Excuse me. While the new imperial structure was being finalized, we also had a storm here, and so I was banished to the simple room, which was okay for temporary. But now that Byzantium is now Constantinople, or in my case, Jamestown, I had to build a separate location. So that's
no
been going
doubt
on for a few months.
So laborers, no doubt, working around the clock, bringing the finest marble and cedar, cypress.
Well, right.
Cinder block.
Yes, from fine purple from Tyre and Phoenicia.
Wonderful.
I don't know if we have Phoenicia in the Grog Empire, but whatever the equivalent to.
Let's go to the map. Oh, wait, never mind.
That's right. Well, I do have the map. I have retained it. It is in the. That, unlike Alexandria, did not burn down. I have kept the ancient files, so we are fortunate to have that. So.
Well, that's great. So when you have the imperial edition complete, you will move all of your various how shall I say it, proclivities or your activities there.
Most of them. I will probably going to keep, like just things like this. If I'm just doing a quick podcast thing, I may do that here, but more of the imaginative things I'll do in the shed. But you never know. If we have more grandchildren, we're going to have a second one come in May.
Oh, great. Congratulations.
Thank you. The royal line is increasing. And if they frequent the main house, I will, of course, flee to the secondary house.
I see. Well, you can go out there and indulge your imaginations in private.
True. That's why I'm getting shades as well for the windows. But I'm doing it because we can't be in the same house, just in case there is, there has to be a survivor, just in case a terrible accident again.
Well, I see over your shoulder a drum set. Is that going out there as well?
Yes. That's right.
My goodness. So it'll be very noisy as well.
Well, this one's electronic, but it will be noisy-ish. Yeah, and that's one of the downsides to not building a fortified structure using the DMG rules. Coming up with murder holes and or number of feet, 10 feet sections.
Or so you'd want us to believe.
Right, or so you want us to believe, exactly.
I mean, I don't expect you to tell us all of your security measures.
Clearly not. But it's not as soundproof as I would like. Actually, I'm going to have to build besides the panic room and the dungeon, there'll be a room to when I want to play guitar as loud as possible, I have to build an enclosure that's just to keep the sound down. So that's been really, we had storm damage last year. Then we were trying to figure out what we were doing. Then we fixed the main house. Now we're doing that. And then I decided I didn't have enough money. So my wife and I are building a pool. So it's just taking all our money and...
You had too much money? Is that what you're saying?
Apparently. So that's what's going on. How about you?
Well, let's see. It was a fairly peaceful last few months. You may have heard that there's been a indefinite hiatus placed on the publication of Flipping and Turning magazine.
I've heard of that. Yes.
We after 5 years and 20 plus issues, we decided, and by we I mean me, decided that it was time to move on to other projects. And so I'll let you know when those other projects come along.
Well, and as we've talked about before, just what an amazing run. It, like a lot of things, lasted a lot longer than I'm sure you and I thought it was going to. So,
well, I would say so. It was fun. I mean, I certainly enjoyed it, and it was such a great opportunity to work with and meet so many members of the Grog Empire, and also people, of the great people of our hobby and our community that I met through GROGTALK and other people.
Well, and that's a great segue into talking about, I reached out to you last month. We were going to try to do this during the holiday season, but of course these things happen. But what we can announce for our first podcast of GROGTALK in 2026 is there are numerous events that are going to happen. First, I want to say, to get save the date, GrogCon 26 is a go.
Yes.
It is a go. Rumors of its demise, greatly exaggerated.
Well, that's good to know. I'll have to, considering I've been mostly spreading those rumors, I'll have to go back and rescind them. Just a minute. Let me.
Or perhaps maybe by doing that, because I heard the hue and cry of my people, and they're like
the wailing and lamentation.
That's right. The gnashing of teeth outside the gates. You must continue
GROGTALK. GROGCon.
So that will be September 10th through the 13th at the Hilton Palace at Buena Vista. It's a new location, another upgrade.
I haven't been out there. Have you?
I have not, but anything that says palace sounds pretty good for an emperor.
It does sound pretty good. I'm curious. Someday or one of these days, I'll drive out there and scope out the territory and see what it's like, and we could do a review on a future podcast.
Well, I would suggest we do that September 14th. So
the day after?
Correct. So that, because again, if we do it early and you find it's a unmitigated hellhole, I'm not sure that will help attendance.
Well, that's true, but no one says that we need to be truthful.
Okay, then we could do it whenever you'd like.
Okay, cool. That's great.
Yeah. So save the date.
What was that again? September 10th?
September 10th through the 13th. And I can already tell everyone, if you're on our Discord, please, if you're not, you should get on the Grog Talk Discord. The theme is, and I try to look up, there's got to be an official, imperial birthday celebration, but we're celebrating me during this year, because it is GrogCon is occurring on the same day the Earth and the world of GrogCon I was birthed into either of those places. So
wait, you mean it's happy? Your birthday is during GrogCon?
That's right. So that tells you how special this is. The fact that I am how many birthdays do I have in total, and how many birthdays
I'm sorry, did you clock out there? Were you having a mini stroke?
No, because unfortunately, these stupid watches, they text you, and of course it's a dissertation someone writes me. So
I see.
And I'm so used to, normally we do this live stream, so invariably someone texts me like, "Hey dummy, we can't hear you," or something like that. So I do apologize. But it's during actually your birthday. Well, that's wonderful. I'm sure that people all over the Grog Empire will be bringing you birthday presents. Right.
And I will be making some suggestions of large, heavy, and ultimately useless things that you then have to take home with you.
Right. Or put on the side of the Hilton Palace. One of the two.
We could build a heap of perhaps skulls upon which we can put your throne.
Or I'm okay with a Burning Man type thing, if you all want to do something like that, where
we can have a lottery to see who gets to be in the Wicker.
Right. Who would not want to be the Wicker Man, the Wicker disciple?
I think it needs to be Vic. I'm just going to say it.
Well, we're going to have to build a bigger Wicker Man.
We're going to need more Wicker.
That's right. I don't know where the Wicker Emporium is, but we better put a double order in if it's going to be Vic. So that's a go. Probably next month we'll start the discussing, but save the date, folks. Really, as long as people come and have a good time, I'm going to keep doing it. But if people don't show up, then
guess what? Last year, GrogCon 2025 was a lot of fun. Had people from all over the world come to visit. It was really great. I had a wonderful time, and I promise. I just want to say again to the table, at the AD&D tournament, the table that I DM'd. I'm sorry that your choices led you to yet another TPK. It happens, but there it is.
Well, if you're playing first edition, that death is on the table. So
that's right. Let's
talk about the next con that you are going to, that I'm going to desperately try to get there as well. DaveCon,
April
26, Bloomington, Minnesota, davecon.net. Vic, who this may be his last DaveCon, he doesn't know it yet, but if we burn him as the Wicker Man.
Well, if DaveCon goes well, he may be spared. What was that date again?
April 24th through the 26th.
In Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Bloomington, technically Bloomington, Minnesota.
That's true. You fly in and I think it's at the same hotel it was last year. There's a very, what do you call it? A shuttle that'll pick you up at the airport, take you right there. You don't even have to, it's in walking distance of the Mall of America.
Yep.
And that's just the external stuff. Internally, a lot of great games with a lot of great people. Some of the luminaries of the early days of D&D, like Bill Hoyt and Mike Carr. It's great. It's great to see him.
Well, and this is, I think, the fifth year or the fourth year. It's
I think it's the fifth. Yes.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, as we've seen recently with the passing of Tim Kask, folks aren't going to be around forever. So if you really want an opportunity to be part of and play and game with the founding fathers of our hobby, this is the time to do it.
And it's worth it too, because they have great stories about, the personal friendships with Dave Arneson and Gary Gygax and Tim Kask. I mean, I met him the first Dave Con, and he has this reputation. He had this reputation as kind of a curmudgeon, and I guess I have to say that he kind of lived up to it. I was very intimidated to talk to him, but they were all just so great with their time.
Yeah, and some of the stories they'll tell will be true. That's even better. You get to try to figure out which ones.
Well, you get to find out which ones happened in real world and which ones happened in game, and oftentimes they seem to bleed one into another.
Right. So DaveCon.net, I'm sure I will have Vic on before DaveCon so he can give his tales and pitch for you all to go with that. Because again, what could be better than April in Minnesota? Well, it could either be beautiful or 400 feet of snow on the ground.
That 100% accurate. The first year we were there, it was a blizzard, and every other year it was just gorgeous.
So one thing the fact I had to be invited is a little troubling, to be honest, and that it wasn't named after me, but I've let it slide because I've been busy moving the Imperial home and everything else. But
yes,
I have been invited as the only special guest. I think that's my understanding. It was a unanimous vote that I'm going to be escorted to the Appalachian Uncon 26. Is that what my understanding is?
That was your understanding?
Oh,
no,
yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I disavow all knowledge of any Appalachian Uncon.
Well, I was going to get a personal driver up there. So
okay. Well, we'll work something out. Yeah, Appalachian Uncon is a gathering. It's called an Uncon because it's not really a convention, but it is a weekend gathering of a few members of the Grog Empire. And it's been going on for a few years, and they eventually decided that James was enough of a luminary that he could be invited to it. So
yeah, see, I thought it was because the security couldn't be guaranteed for my safety. These are very high level members of the Grog Empire, and they would never dare threaten my safety with this. And finally, the security measures are. I had heard, a couple of years, people just showed up and were allowed in. So,
well,
clearly that can't happen with me there.
Well, there are. It is true that there have been some security lapses in the past that we believe have been completely sealed, but. Yeah. Having the emperor there, of course, raises it to a whole new level. So who knows what'll happen? But
right, I consider this like Apollo 11. I mean, does anyone remember 1 through 10? No, the only one they remember is 11.
Well, and 13. So let's hope it's not that one too.
Well, 11 is when they
landed on the moon.
The Eagle has landed.
The Eagle had landed. Yes.
I don't intend to go back because I know what happens the next year or the 2 years after. It's a disaster. Something happens. So you're exactly right. But this is the Apollo 11.
Well, you were unanimously invited. We'll see how it goes. You could be unanimously uninvited as well, depending on your behavior.
Yeah, that would be, I would suggest then you should not put it anywhere in the Appalachians because I have numerous members of the Grog Empire who would descend upon that and provide stern talkings to. So
well, it does take place in an undisclosed location, and it moves year by year. So, good luck.
Well, as like Sauron, I have the unblinking eye.
Oh, okay.
Especially when I'm medicated. So I am looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. So the reason we got together is I pitched this idea of, I've moved, away from where I lived. And with that, the campaign I was running, the campaign I was part of ended,
Yeah, you moved away.
Right.
The guy with the DMG moved away, so the campaign ended.
That's exactly right. And so I was thinking, boy, what if I was going to, all I want for Christmas is a new campaign, and what would that be like? And part of the reason I wanted you on board is because I think it's fair to say that you have played a lot more systems than I have, because like Dan, I went into the deep freeze, disappeared for a number of years, and since I started playing again, I've kind of focused on first edition with a smattering of Rule Cyclopedias, Moldvay basic. Dip my toes into Holmes edition with Dan, the person who shall not be named. And
who?
Exactly. So I think that's about it. I mean, as far as editions, and so I thought, maybe I could go over what I would want to stop doing, what I think I've found, enjoyable on my previous campaign, and what I would like to start doing in a new campaign, because it's like a new character. You're always excited about the next character and the next campaign.
Well, so if you're going to start a new campaign and you're thinking, I guess the first thing to think about is it going to be a fantasy campaign, or is it going to be a cybertech?
No, it'll be a fantasy campaign.
Okay, so like Greyhawk.
Yeah, it will be some fantasy world.
Okay,
I'm not precluding Greyhawk or Empire of the Petal Throne or whatever else there's out there. Ajalon, whatever it's called.
Forgotten Realms.
Whatever.
Or something of your own making.
Yeah, Rune Quest, whatever that land is.
Gloriantha.
I haven't gotten to that, but it is going to be grounded in medieval fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Start. It can have other things, but that part I know. It's not going to be,
a science traveler, science fiction story, or a
Call of Cthulhu, or some version of that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what kinds of are you? I guess the question is, do you want to change from AD&D or the BX stuff that you've used? Are you feeling like tipping your toe into one of the OSR releases, or?
Well, obviously 1E is the game I know the best, and it is, it is the girl you brought to the dance kind of thing, right? It's
sure.
And I could run it, but I guess what I should start with is what I'm trying to get out of this campaign, and then whether, as someone who's played multiple editions, whether what I'm trying to do would be more trouble than it's worth in first edition.
Okay.
So, and I think it's compatible. Certainly, first edition, you can do anything in it. So, it's more of, is it more trouble than it's worth?
Sure.
So things I don't want to do. I don't want to do online play. I am not interested in online play. It was acceptable for COVID time and, for one shot where you can't get people together, but I have no interest in that.
So you want to get together face to face across a table.
That's right. So it has to be a face-to-face thing. To me, that's still the optimal.
Without a doubt.
But I get why other people do it. But for me, it's sitting at the table, working through it. And the other thing, which I know some other systems and more modern ones are very vested in the backstory of characters. I don't really care. I don't want people's backstory. I am a big fan of you roll dice, you roll on, if you want to roll on some tables, but it's quickly, you pick your class based on the dice you roll, you get some basic stuff, and then I tell you where you're at.
All right. Well, go on. What's another thing you're thinking about?
Well, I also don't want an epic fantasy. I don't want, it can be high fantasy. I'm not opposed to that, though I probably would lean against it. But I don't want Lord of the Rings type of campaign.
So I always judge that. So Lord of the Rings is obviously one side of the thing, and it's sort of Shannara kind of thing. And then there's the Fafhrd and Grey Mouser idea of they are literally just trying to get some gold and magic and the girl and drunk. Those are the things they want.
Maybe not in that order.
Not necessarily in that order. And when one of those things run out, then they're forced to go on another adventure. Is that the kind of thing you're thinking about?
Correct. Except with, because I'm lazy and I don't want a lot of downtime shenanigans, or I almost want a downtown. That's where, like, traveling, I almost want a system for it. Like, almost like that's the only part of that, I'm just kind of stealing Traveler. You know how you go through your character creation, you could die.
Yeah.
I would like some kind of press your luck downtime, right? Where you say, your character, it's downtime and you've got, I don't know, 1,000 gold and I don't know, maybe there's a couple of tables. I don't know if anyone's done this, but you could be next thing. Oh, Rob's character's not there because he just took over 3 empires. He's an emperor somewhere.
Or he got thrown in jail.
Right. Or he was found with the emperor's wife and he's been executed or something like that. If we're going to do downtime, I don't want to have to spend a whole lot of time between sessions role-playing things with individual characters. I want the game to happen with the rest of the table.
Well, 5th edition has had a kind of an interesting downtime system, I thought.
Yeah.
Where you've played that?
I have played, but we never did the downtime. I've seen the tables of it. So.
I thought the tables were pretty good. I mean, you set up a period of time between your sessions. If you have a couple of weeks, you say, well, I'm going to spend a week. I mean, I play a thief. I'm going to spend a week doing crimes. And it was, there was a table for it. You roll and you have a stats that modify your roll. And the results are, you've picked up an enemy, or you picked up you got something, whatever it was. I don't want to go into a whole lot of detail about it, but I thought that that's the only thing I've ever seen that had a downtime tables.
Yeah. Or I could, steal that idea and modify it somewhat, but
I like the idea that suppress your luck, which means that, eventually you'll lose it all.
Well, yeah. And that's, I played this, there's these, it's not a D&D game, but like, I'm going to call it Dungeon Delver, but I don't think that's the name of it. It's like Dungeon Dice. And the idea is you keep delving and you're using resources, just like classic game, right? The deeper you go, the more stuff you get, but the more likely you come back with nothing. if you press your luck. So that would be something I would invest a little time in. But again, the thrust of the campaign should be what's happening with everyone at the table. I don't want this situation to be, and it would be something, maybe the last 15 minutes of the session, because I'm lazy and I don't want, and I think some of this is predicated on the players I get. If I get some engaged players who are going to have interest between sessions, and I don't have to sit here and go, what did you do last session? They go, well, I don't remember because I was not interested in writing notes down. Then
I think we fought something.
Right.
I know I'm down 20 hit points, so I think we had a fight.
No. Actually, you were healed the last session, but you forgot to write it down. So, but now you're hurt again. That's the kind of things that.
Well, that's because you're a vindictive DM.
Right. Well, but you forgot. So, of course, if it didn't happen in the real world, if you forgot. Anyway, that's another segue. So things I want to. So with that, continue, like I said, in person. I want simple classes. I don't want a whole lot of. Obviously I want them to build up over time, but I don't want them to have 300 things to start with.
Do you want them to have classes? I mean, I guess my question is that there's the standard, character class, but there's a lot of games where you don't start as a class, but you just buy skills.
Skills, right. Skill system.
Those are more complex.
Right. And that's why I'm generally against them, only because, then especially if it's a new system for me, then that I'd have to know a little bit more, because again, if you make a mistake because they use their mechanical skill versus their disarm trap skill, I'm just making up two skills, and And that's what seems to happen to me a lot of times when I've played skill-based systems, where someone goes, if you want to help them out, they go, well, I have listening. Oh, but yeah,
you have listening, or you don't have perception though. And that's different.
Right. Or I'm going to, move silent versus espionage. I don't know. I'm just making up stuff one's more specific.
Well, I generally like skill systems, but the biggest problem with skill systems is there's always another skill between the two skills you have that you don't have.
Yeah.
And you think they're exactly the same, and they're not. You can pick locks. Well, that's great, but that doesn't mean that you could disable a lock. Why not? Well, because disable lock is a different skill.
Yeah, and that's why I almost, one thing I have on my start thing is getting away from or using some kind of difficulty number, and assigning things like that, a DC for things. Because again, that's not an old school thing. That's more of a new school thing.
Yes.
They did ability scores, and I thought that was pretty cruddy. It's a pretty blunt instrument, but this idea of, instead of a skill system, you have your attributes, you may have a couple other, maybe more attributes, and based on the attribute, it supports a range of things you can do. And and in my case, I would be, as the referee, would say, Rob, you're investigating this thing. Okay, that's an intelligence check at this amount. And
if you have the right background, then you get it. Your die is better, or you get pluses to the die, or something like that,
or more dice. Again, I'm not system. If it's some things do more dice, some things do
use bigger dice.
Yeah, I also want to keep the math relatively. I don't want. Well, it's that is a 5th edition thing. I do like advantage and disadvantage. It's a simple,
simple mechanic.
Either you get more, or you get less. You don't sit there and go, okay, +1 and carry the 2 and -3 and. So something like that.
Okay.
And just like you said, the serial adventures, I definitely want nothing where, you're always, trying to destroy the ring or save the planet. It's
I always call it the quest to find the 7 pieces of the thing that was broken into 7 pieces.
Exactly. Yeah. To save the world.
To save the world. Yeah. The thing that's necessary the last time.
Right.
The bad guy showed up.
This is the 14th time this has happened.
We keep misplacing the thing that locks him away.
Yes, this is the 15th age of the return of big bad evil one. Correct. And you lowly people are going to be the reason the 15th time doesn't end in utter darkness. Correct. And I've tried the last campaign to do that, but invariably I fall into this kind of, it starts as a serial sandbox adventure, and I blame myself that I allow it to get to, whoa, you must protect this thing or you must destroy this thing.
I think if a DM's, I think it's a mistake, and it's a very common mistake, but I think it's a mistake for a DM to sit down when they're starting a new campaign and saying, this is going to be the story of the blah. If you make it a very simple story, like the adventures come from a city or a region, and there's some bad guys on the other side of the border that are gathering monsters because they want to invade. Meanwhile, there are bandits in the woods. I wish somebody would do something about it. Or even the classic. There's a creepy old ruin outside of town and needs to be delved out. But if you do that, and do more than that, then you might be laying yourself up for, one, a little disappointment if your players aren't into it. But secondly, your players may feel like, oh, geez, do we have to do this? Can't I just go into the dungeon and find some gold and then go to a bigger town?
Yeah. And I had no final, when I did the last campaign, it was literally they're prisoners on a ship. They don't know. They're all ex-convicts, it was the thing I did for that campaign 2 years ago was a version of that. They landed on
the tournament. Yes.
Yeah. But I stole something from DCC, Dungeon Crawl Classics, where, you had a bunch of 0 level characters and, death was all over the place. And then the last ones would the ones who survived are the ones you wanted to survive.
You use the funnel.
Right.
A funnel is a fun way to start a campaign, I think.
Yeah. And it was great. But one of the mechanisms I also stole a little bit of Dragonlance, which was my mistake, in that the current empire, which is where they were banished from, the deities were all the deities, because again in Mystara there's no deities, they're immortals. It's just a rule cyclopedia thing. So I basically said all the deities disappeared for a while, and that the clerics were not really clerics, they're more like priests. They were doing the ceremonies but with no power, kind of thing. And that one of the first adventures was an evil cleric like the Sith, stealing a little Star Wars, and I steal everything. The Sith was trying to capture this MacGuffin that was actually for the good deity, like the plates that Goodberry or Goodmoon, whatever she found, I forgot, in Dragons of Despair. So that was my mistake, because of course then that set up
a big quest.
That's right. Yeah, I was planning to, really they were just going to do Isle of Dread. That's what they landed on. I just took Isle of Dread, and they landed on one part of Isle of Dread, but because I set up there was no clerics, and this one of them was going to become the first cleric. That was the problem.
It's hard to. It's nice to be able to let the players decide some of what they want to do. I mean, if you, like you say, you talked about players who were engaged with the world. It's best. I mean, I think it's best for the whole campaign if, you know, a player can say to you, you know, you said something about this. I don't know. You just threw out a line at some time about the distant blue mountains, and if he says, you know, I want to see what's there, you know, that could lead to some interesting gameplay. You know, that's the sandbox realm of it. At least right. I think that's fun.
And that's definitely going to happen. And in fact, as I was talking through it, part of my, not aversion to first edition, but those kind of, that tree is my take on the cleric. And you know, I take the deities and demigods pretty seriously. It's the fourth book of the Trinity.
That's right.
It's the fourth book of the Trinity.
It's okay.
In that, clerics, you know, they're the mouthpiece of their deity, and they're pawns to be used in the service of them, right?
So there needs to be deities that actually are there. The whole idea of getting rid of the deities is so.
I'm just saying, if we stay with first edition, I apologize. So the problem with that is, if you have a cleric and you think you're just going to be a heal bot and and do whatever you want and not really focus on your deity's whims, that I have a problem with that. You're not really playing the character.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that then sets up, I think, some of this epic stuff, because obviously as you go up in level, the attention of your deity should.
Yep, and it definitely does. I mean, as we know from the fourth book, Deities and Demigods, there, as your spell levels go up, you're having more and more one-on-one encounters with your deity.
So I either have to nerf that if I'm going to stay in 1E and say, you know, everyone's worships Bokob the Uncaring, I guess.
Well, why do you have to nerf that? You don't like that aspect? I mean,
I just think it leads to Lord of the Rings kind of things.
Because you're saying that I'm a 7th level cleric or whatever it is that I can start casting. Is it 5th level spells or
4th level, but
4th level that you start interacting with the deity? Well, you start interacting with direct representations of the deity.
Yeah, and that their agenda is going to be more, you know, are they really going to care that you're stealing the gem from the spider, from the snake at the bottom of Thulsa Doom's? You know,
they probably think that's fine. It's all part of my plan.
Okay, well, then that's where it's a challenge to me, because typically as they get higher up, they start interacting or foiling the plots of other deities, and that tends to lead to them finding a bigger bad boss.
So you don't. So it looks to me like you just assumed there were no clerics at all.
Almost to that point, or the corollary of it, there were other ways to heal besides clerics in the system. So that clerics, you know, you may have some divine inspiration, but that's not their.
Well, you can
almost a fetish version of, you know, either polytheism or something like that. I haven't figured it out, but that's kind of mechanically that's the challenge I have.
Here's something you could think of. They could be psionics. And I don't mean necessarily the straight up psionics out of the, you know, which is optional.
Yeah.
But you could create a sort of psionic character create that's. And if you say that that's one of the reasons why you're a PC is that you have X number of points that you can psionically heal with. I mean, that's something you can do. I don't know if you personally, I like clerics and I like that whole aspect of the game. So I haven't given a whole lot of thought about that, but sources of healing other than clerics, making clerics heal bots it's very annoying to me.
Right.
That's why, well, go on. So what other things are you thinking about on your Christmas list?
Well, I mean, so, the campaign develops the characters again, the opposite of the backstory. And, your most interesting things should not have happened in your backstory. It's like, I rode with the queen and I, fought in the Civil War. And now
Well, at my birth, I was announced to be the chosen one.
Yeah, and now I'm a first.
So I've been training since the age of 6 in martial arts, and here I am, a first level monk.
Right, exactly. No, it's just you're Bob the monk, and
Bob the monk.
And I want to continue the deadly unbalanced encounters. That not every encounter is winnable. It may be. It may not. Let me say it this way. Not every encounter could be won by combat alone.
Sure. A great deal of luck is required.
Luck or out of the box thinking, again, some version of not just, hey, the DM has provided this encounter to us, so we must be able to defeat it. I'm not a fan of that.
I'm not a fan of that either, but I only know one game that goes all in on that, and it's the one that you know the best and have been playing for 40 years. It's AD&D, and also PX to a certain extent, but starting with 3rd edition of AD&D, they began the idea of balanced encounters, and it's sort of baked into all subsequent editions. I mean, you can always create encounters that can't be. I guess the thing that I like, I say create encounters. When you create encounters, you don't sit down and deliberately say, well, they're 5th level, so I'm obviously going to throw 1,000 ogre mages at them. That's creating an encounter. Yeah. The thing is that how much are you going to be guided by random encounter tables? Because that's where I rolled. Oh, it says roll on the dragon sub table. What? Okay, a D12. Oh, it's a huge ancient red dragon that has randomly shown up. Well, if you're ready to roll with that, then you're saying, well, then I'm going to create an encounter with them, but he may not be bothered with these 1st level adventurers. He's not cares about them, but it's still, the encounter might still occur in some way.
Right.
But if you're not going to be, I mean, there's the idea of random encounters is, while we think of it as something that happens, it's really not something that happens in a lot of modern games. The idea that something randomly happens, I guess what I'm saying is that why I like random encounters is when I'm a DM is that it means that I'm also being surprised by the game.
Right.
And a lot of I want to say modern games, the DM never wants to be surprised by anything except what the players do.
Yeah. No, and I agree with you. And I think and again, back to the way I usually create adventures, if it's a dungeon, on the other hand, I want to continue the thing of verisimilitude or actually the certainty that the player knows that this dungeon had an ancient red dragon, and if they defeat it, they did it because they were smart enough. And if they figured out a way to kill it super easy, not 3 more are going to show up because I didn't write that down.
Yeah, I agree.
And conversely, if I went, I didn't realize they would be down to 5 hit points because the spiked trap that they all ran into 17 times, like a certain person did, I didn't think they would have that much problem with it. And so they're weak when they get there. That's the same thing. That's pressing your luck. Your choice was, hey, we're pretty hurt. We should probably rest. No, let's keep going.
Let's just keep going. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I understand what you're saying. You want there to be the element of risk and the possibility of sudden death, but you also want players. You want to be flexible enough that if players come up with something interesting or different or smart, that you roll with it.
Yeah. And if they defeat your big bad monster encounter, you don't go, well, that was too easy. Now I'm going to give him twice as much. You don't want to fudge what's there, because even though it may be anticlimactic, which has happened a couple of times, right? I thought, this is going to destroy them, and they just,
that's what the die rolls.
Correct.
That die rolls, they hit more often than you thought. They max out on damage, and your monsters rolled a bunch of 1s.
Yeah, and they failed their hold person, even though they needed a 3, they rolled a 2, and all of a sudden the guys,
but players love that stuff, and rightly so, because they're having a great time.
But yeah, and you don't want a situation where the generic middle level bad guy is he was supposed to last 7 rounds and he lasted 1. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and he's all of a sudden using a 5.
Here comes his. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. He what?
Yeah, he has a whatever they call it, heroic action or legendary action, and he makes a save. What? How did he do that? Because so that's the flip side of. So I've given you all the parameters of what I would like, and I'm sure I'm sure if I want that, there is no system that fits it exactly, unless the James, I'm going to write the James RPG, which I have no interest in doing. So, which one comes the closest in your mind from your experience? And if it is 1E, my concern with 1E is not the system. My concern with 1E is people like you.
Oh, well, I can understand that, but what do you mean?
Well, you've played 1E for a very long time. You have a deep knowledge of it. And every time I've modified 1E with home rules, because we've played for so long, it is excruciatingly painful to deprogram someone. It's like teaching them, Mac when they've used Unix for 35 years.
So it sounds to me like you want to start with a new system simply because that way it's all fresh for everybody.
It's fresh, and we don't get I want the core muscle memory of role-playing and good play to be rewarded. But what I don't want is a whole lot of, well, why did you take that out? Why did you change this? Why did you add that? Because invariably, anything cool, they're super happy with, right? If I said, all you have now this health psychic ability that you can heal yourself, 20 points every day. I'm just making up something.
Sure.
No one's going to be like, wow, that sucks. But as soon as I say, you can only play the core classes, cleric, fighter, magic user, thief. We're not doing any of the other ones. Well, I want to be an illusionist. Nope, because we're only doing simple. I'm just making it arbitrary.
Sure.
But it's in the rules. It's first edition.
Well, I don't know what to recommend. I'll be honest with you.
All right. Well, thanks. It's good seeing you. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, there's a game system that I won't say it's my favorite game system, but I think it is an extremely flexible game system, and it has a modular bit to it, and it's Savage Worlds.
Oh, interesting.
Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Savage Worlds.
I have the basic book, and I've never played it.
Well,
I know people love it.
There's a version that came out a few years ago called Suede. So it's Savage World Adventure something. So that's like the second edition. I've never played a fantasy campaign in it. The games, I think I'll tell your viewers, we've talked about this, but tell your viewers a little bit about the gaming table that I sit down to regularly. Basically runs a game for somewhere between 8 months and 2 years, and then we swap off to somebody else running a campaign. So we've played, one person ran a fantasy campaign that was set in the Ice Age, so we were all basically Neolithic, flint spears.
Right.
Kind of a thing. And if somebody else runs a game, the next game that's being set up is basically Flash Gordon. So, but that's not all we play. I mean, we also, like I said, we've also played Pathfinder and 5th edition, and we've played a variety of these games, but we keep coming back to Savage Worlds because it's so flexible. You can really come up with any kind of they've got a lot of setting books that are that you can pick up. There's the fantasy setting, but then, if you wanted to throw in robots, well, their rules for robots are really easily integrated. Incorporated. Now, there's another game system that I've heard a lot about, but I haven't played, and let me be sure I know the name of.
Yeah, and I'm hoping folks who watch this after, put it in the comments, or go out to our Discord and let me know your thoughts. But, I've given the parameters. Rob's been gracious enough to kind of walk me through it like a therapist to get to through my problems. But, if, all things being equal, I would probably run, BX again, or first edition, BX with some 1E flavoring, which is, how I used to do it 1,000 years ago, just so that I could make my life easier. But, there's always good time to try something different.
So there's a relatively new game called, let me be sure I got the name right, Burrows and Borderlands.
Burrows and Borderlands. Okay.
It's weird science fantasy old school style role-playing game set in a dark radioactive wasteland of magic, black powder, and dragons. So it's kind of like Gamma World and Dragon and Dungeons and Dragons mashed together. It's definitely a old school style roll 3d6 down the way. Mm-hmm. Now, they do have some peculiar classes like robot hunters and things like that. If you're going to embrace something like that, you're really embracing more than a standard fantasy campaign. On the other hand, I think the mechanics would be very familiar to you because the classes, spellcasters cast spells, etc.
Right.
It certainly would be something that your players wouldn't get ahead of you. It's something that I'm interested in doing some playing in or working around with. That's a kind of a new OSR game that's getting some buzz. I seen the guy at I think it was at Dave Con. I know it was at Arnie Con. It's probably at Page this weekend. But I also know that so we're talking about a couple of so those are a couple of suggestions. What I like about the Savage World stuff is that it is definitely skill and edge base. Now, you're not rolling up characters, you're building characters. So you have a certain number of points and you put them together and you start off as a novice character. And, as you advance up the scale. It's also a game where you use all your dice. There's funny, so you're not just rolling a d20. You get target numbers for things. that you're trying to achieve those numbers on your dice. But I'm going to go back to AD&D simply because I do love it. I do love the system of it, and certainly we know it. You know it 10 times better than I do. Without a doubt. I don't know what other games you've played, so I don't know.
I mean, they were so different. Well, I mean, like I've said a few times, I played AD&D. Well, really, we played originally Moldvay with some AD&D flavor. Then it was AD&D with a little basic to make our lives easier. And then our derivatives were Traveler, Star Frontiers, Top Secret, Toon, Paranoia, Pendragon, Lord of the Rings, the ice version of it.
Well, you're just going down you're going down every shelf of the game store in circa 1985, right there.
Right. But it was AD&D was the primary, and then we would dabble
in other things. Sure, absolutely. Yeah. But you've also played more modern games. I know you have run a 5e campaign for your kids at some point.
Yeah, I first it was one at first edition, and then I did when the son and the girlfriend won one of the tournament. They were part of the winning party at GROGTALK, and she wanted to continue to play. I decided, if they're going to play with other people, 1E's probably not going to happen. So I ran 5th edition. And again, it was fine for what it is. And that's the advantage. I would run 1E again if I knew who my players were, pro or con. If they're complete newbies, I would definitely run basic 1E because, again, they don't know anything. It's like the old days when players do not look at the DMG for,
but people who are interested that want to sign up for a 1E campaign are probably our peers who have read everything from beginning to end. So I understand what you mean.
And they've not just have they played, most of them have DM'd. So it's not even, the players I can deal with. And even DMs I can deal with if they just like you
keep their mouth shut.
Well, you've run games and I've had a great time with you. You're the DM. I may throw something out there, but ultimately it's not that's not how Gary
That rule is wrong. That rule is wrong.
I said the most you'll get, I've always thought haste was 2 attacks. Nope. I do it 3 attacks. And if you fail your saving throw, your heart explodes. Okay. Well, I mean, as long as I know that's what haste is.
I'm taking that off my list then, because that sounds a little bad.
That's right. I'm not casting that now. So basically it's methamphetamine. This is what you're saying to me. So, okay. Well, this was very helpful. I'm going to ask for people to put their comments, give me some advice. I will go look at the 2 that you mentioned and probably go online and look at others too.
Well, I have a question for you. How are you going to be advertising your in-person game? Is there a game store near you, or
there is
a meetup or something?
I don't. Do people still use Meetup? I'm not sure.
I don't even know if it's still on anymore.
It does. It still exists. There is a store that they're more of a card store, but they are willing to host D&D. There is a Sarasota, Bradenton Facebook D&D.
Okay, that's good.
Whatever. So I was going to go there, but to me, it's the field of dreams, and that I have to be interested in running something. And first I need to figure out the tool. I need the tools so I can build the sandbox that will get me interested to publish, to put it out.
To seek the players.
Right.
Yeah.
I've never had a problem finding players. If they may be the wrong players and you get the churn. This is the beauty of running that basically pickup game for 2 years at the store. It's just people just showed up, word of mouth, blah blah blah. So I'm and again, their skill level is not. In some ways, I wish they were all newbies. That would be better. And that's going to be the other side to it too. I may pick. I'm just making one up. Let's say Savage Worlds, and I post it on Facebook and Nextdoor or wherever, and I get crickets because no one wants to play Savage Worlds. They only want to play D&D. Well, then I have to decide. Then I would probably just join a group and play whatever they're playing for a while.
There's a wisdom in sticking your toe in and see how warm the water is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that would be.
I'm saying you look like you need a bath. I think that's where that was going.
Well.
Just.
Well, I think with that, Rob, it's great to see you virtually in the flesh.
Yeah, I look forward to the next time we can have a beer together.
Yeah, it's going to happen sooner than later. Hopefully, definitely. We're going up in May, but hopefully between now and then we'll get together.
You still have ties in the in the domain of your old
spies, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll let me know the next time that your movements allow you to come near here.
Right, they have to be. Basically, I have to just show up at your door. I can't give any advance notice at this time.
Okay, well, we'll be sure to. I'll always keep the finest champagne chilling just in case.
If you can have the flame, the eternal flame going at all times, so I know
that you're welcome.
It's a safe house for me.
That's right.
That is lands that it's still under my decree.
But you've ceded it. It's direct. What do you call it? Ruling to someone else.
Yeah, it's just you know how it is when the king's away, the subjects will play, and if I just go there by myself, I need an army if I'm going to go there and install.
You basically have to reconquer.
Right. It's lip service fealty,
Yeah, that's sad, but there it is.
Well, very good, sir. It was great talking to you, and I'm sure I'll come up. And if you have any other fun ideas for the show, just give me a text. And if not, for Grog Talk, we'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.